Chapter 7 of The Spending of a Life's Breath by Amanda Grace Windward. This chapter is not that long at all. I'm Linda from Curtin Creative Gallery, reading this book for you. Chapter 7, A Troubling Sign. On Sunday, everyone was there to move her. It's Marcelina. And some of her stuff got stored in my cellar back home. After the last load was packed and we were all ready to go, it seemed like she forgot for a moment that I was even there, as she began to tell her sister, "Roger and I will come up and get the plants on Tuesday, and then we will clean up and sweep up the house on Wednesday." I was standing by our truck not far from Roger when she said this, and I spoke up. "Your sister told me she was going to do that with you," I told her. She turned, looked surprised, as if she forgot I was there, and said, "Oh, yes, that's fine." When we got into our individual cars and trucks, Roger got in our truck with me, and we headed home to bring the load that was going to be stored in our cellar. Once we were rolling, I asked him straight out, "Roger, how long has this been going on?" Roger played the innocent and said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "She's acting like she owns you. Not only did she feel she did not have to check with me about you both doing things this week, but what's more important, she didn't feel she had to ask you. How dare she take you for granted, us for granted? You will do these things with her Tuesday and Wednesday without checking with you or me first," I complained. Roger argued that it's got nothing to do with how she behaved. "That's her, not me," he said. "She's just like one of your sisters to me." I said, "Well, enough is enough. She's trying to possess you. No more helping Marcelina." But he said, "I just want to finish helping her get settled near work. Then there will be plenty of people to help her. She won't need me after that." I had to believe him. I had to trust him. I had always put my trust in him. He was the husband of my youth. This might be one-sided, just like when one of our other friends had a crush on him. He was flattered, but never acted on it. We had been married for nearly 30 years now. I bore 5 children for him. He was my best friend. We had been through a long life together so far. We had climbed many mountains with all the children and gone through many valleys already together, and always came out together and stronger for it. But deep down, I was beginning to feel very frightened at what seemed to be happening around us or to us. I did want to trust Roger with all my heart, and I was feeling guilty for thinking he might have a hand in all of this. But then again, it did sometimes seem like he was dumb when it came to women and their wiles, and susceptible to their manipulation. Heck, I knew how to get around him in some things, didn't I? Of course, at that time I didn't know he had taken up with his old love, the booze. I did believe totally now, though, that Marcelina was up to no good in trying to wrap her wily ways around Roger. But not my Roger. He might not see through her like I did. But I believed with my whole heart He would never leave me for a woman like that. After all, we meant to each other all these years, but she could cause some havoc in our lives if this kept up like this. But boy, was I wrong. It was a beautiful home just around the corner from work, like they said that she was getting. After getting her all moved in, I hoped this would put an end to my worries about what she was up to with my husband. I hoped Roger would be able to begin to take it easier and putter around our home when he felt up to it, which was still unfinished. But instead, the day after we moved Marcelina in her new home, she was fired from her job at the company she worked at with Roger, and then she called him crying, and he had to run up and comfort her, and she kept calling him and emailing him, and so I complained. And exactly 3 weeks later, Roger moved out on us, and in with her, telling me she needed him and how I was strong and a wonderful person, but he needed to be there with her, for her. The day he called me and left, it happened like this. He called me from work, like he had every day for years, but this time he said, "Mandy, I have something to talk to you about when I come home." He had never done that before. We always spoke to each other about everything and anything when he called home twice a day, which was just our thing. The first time to talk about how his day was going, and the second to say he was leaving work and going to be on his way home. When he came home, he was solemn. He sat in his recliner in our bedroom, and when I asked him what was wrong, he said, "I'm leaving. I need to have time to think. So I'm going to stay at my brother Luke's for a while." I asked him why, and he said just this: "We butt our heads about the kids." I felt this had to be a joke, a bad joke, so I said, "Duh." After all, with 13 children, any couple would butt heads about the kids from time to time. That's no reason for him to leave. I was still in a lot of pain with my injuries, and I could not sit long without discomfort in my lower back and hip area. So I took a breath, and I got up to go around the back of my rocking chair to stand and rest my hands on the back of the chair for balance and stretch my back. Roger jumped up and grouched at me, saying, "Don't bother getting up. I'll leave." And then he went to the closet to grab a few clothes. I was in complete shock by this drama from nowhere, and I said, "What are you talking about? I just got up because my back is hurting." But he didn't stop to explain. He grabbed a few things from the shelf in the closet, stuck them, and then stuck them in a bag and stormed out of the house. He said he was going to his brother Luke's house in Daring, but a few days later his brother told me Roger wasn't really staying there with him at all, and he wasn't going to cover for him. So I called Roger's cell phone, and he admitted he was up to Marcelina's house staying there. Roger had moved in with Marcelina, who had first said Roger was just like a brother to her, and she just wanted to help him. But by Monday, she admitted to me she would want to marry him if he was free. He had claimed she was just like a sister to him, but chose to move in with her, where there were no children, and he could get back to his old love, the drink. He immediately filed for divorce, and it was final November 11th. And 3 months after it was final, Marcelina said, and Roger were married. Meanwhile, I was left all alone to pack up the pieces of a shattered life. My family, a home, our life at home was a mess from shockwaves of it all. I was crazy with grief, disbelief, and just plain crazy. I knew I had to somehow try to save myself if I were to be of any use towards saving any of my family. But at this point, I truly did not know how except to cry it all out into a therapist in my journal. Before my accident, Roger leaving, I could handle almost anything just by letting go and letting God direct me. But suddenly it was as if our cable of communication was cut and God couldn't hear me, or I couldn't hear him. I still trust in the Lord, but I just no longer trust I was good enough with the anger and fear I felt to know what it was God was trying to tell me to do next, or why, or even if I would be willing. The fear and anger were consuming me. My self worth, with all the confusion inside me, was severely depleted, and nothing was clear to me, or safe, or normal to me anymore. I was scared to death and couldn't think my way out of a paper bag at that point. And if I had known it was going to be like this for years, I think I would have considered killing myself then and there. If it wasn't for my therapist and keeping on writing in my journal, I hate to think what I would have done at that point with things so desperately hopeless and the consuming terror that followed me wherever I went and with whatever I did was almost more than I could bear. These are the journal entries and notes that began my recollections of this time in my life that I call my torn inside out insanity time. And it starts off with when I gave my mom a journal for her birthday, but I gave it to her a day early, and Dad was scheduled for knee surgery. And it was for her and Dad to share their memories of Dad's knee surgery and the rest of life's adventures, too. In the front, on the second page, was a black block saying, "This journal belongs to Dad and Mom. Happy birthday, Mom. Date, February 23rd, 2000. Love, Roger and Mandy. Good luck, Dad. We love you." And written was, "Happy birthday, Mom. May all your wishes come true." And this journal is for the family to read or write in during or waiting and watching Pup's recovery. On the top of the page is written, "To God be the glory, great things he has done," which was exactly how I felt about my life, raised in a loving home with wonderful parents who loved each other and were the greatest example for me and my own growing family and our great life shared between all of us. This is the end of chapter 7. Thank you for sharing with me. And in chapter 8, it begins the journal's entries that started with my mother and father. Thank you for sharing, and I'll be with you soon.